So the next speaker of today's assembly, or the first speaker of today's assembly actually, has been playing music for basically his entire life.
I guess you could say that music is his forte.
No.
There have been a few minor setbacks.
I thought we agreed we weren't going to do this.
But he came back and now he's quite sharp.
Why is this happening right now?
He walks up to everyone and says, "Cello."
Well, everything you're saying is true. Stop.
His son is one of the best-known composers of the 18th century.
Wait, what?
He's well known for his violin textbook and Grünerlichen Wielenschule.
No, he isn't. He's known for his first sketches at the Flying Machine.
Wait, time out. Who do you think we're introducing?
Leonardo da Vinci.
Leopold Mozart.
Wait, no, aren't we introducing him over there?
Oh, Leo Bukovsan.
Oh, okay.
I mean, with a few exceptions, most of that is still true.
Yeah, and we'll let you figure out which ones are true and which ones aren't.
So, introducing the first speaker of today's assembly,
Leo Bukovsan.
So many pages. I have written several drafts of my senior speech throughout my high school career. The topics range from mental illness to sexuality to gender. I have chronic depression and anxiety disorder, and I'm a gay transgender guy. There's a lot to talk about. And I wanted to talk about it all. There's so much I could say, so many words I could use to show you all what my life is like. So I'm going to talk about something that can be important to anyone, a place. Maybe it's a bedroom, a hallway on the 3rd floor of the school, a park in the city. For me, that place is on Wupstrasse in Bemidji, Minnesota. A German language village named Waldsee. Yep, all you who hear me talk about Waldsee, I'm going to talk about it more. And now you're going to know why. Shortly before I turned 12 years old, I spent a week at Waldsee as a teilnehmer or participant. I loved my camp counselors and the activities I did, but I just didn't get along with my roommates. The girls were mean to me, excluded me, and generally just didn't seem to like me. So I spent most of my time with the people who taught me my modal verbs and met with me every night to talk about how my day went. The next year, I doubled my time at the camp and became a Kurzteilnehmer, short-time participant. I spent 2 weeks learning German by being hunted by zombies, going to discos and restaurants, playing capture the flag, and meeting great friends. The next year, I relived that experience and met even greater friends. These great friends helped me accept myself as something I had denied for years: queer. I was out, I was proud, and my friends supported me. My friendships were lining up perfectly so I could be a credit villager for 4 weeks the next year, the summer before my sophomore year. Then I auditioned for a week-long opera camp put on by the Minnesota Opera, and was lucky enough to be accepted into the program. However, the week interfered with the 4-week session I was planning on attending. I still wanted to go to Waldsee, so I signed up for a session ending 3 days before the start of school. I didn't actually know that Waldsee had 2 halves of the summer, and my first 3 years had had a different dean than the one I was about to meet. I was so worried I wouldn't know anyone. My first day there, I met Petra, Liana, Hugo, and Bobsy. Of course, these are their German names, but they only knew me as Maren. These 4 people ended up being some of the best friends I've had, and for the first 3 weeks, they didn't know my name, my real name. But more than anything, during those 4 weeks, I became more confident in who I am. That was the summer I first started realizing I was transgender, and the people there were so supportive of my journey. I made so many important memories there and decided that the next summer I would return to Waldsee as a Lehrling, or apprentice. I would stay at Waldsee for another 4 weeks and get a chance to see what it's like to be a counselor. As a Lehrling, I was reunited with Liana, Hugo, and Bobsy, who were also Lehrlinge. I reconnected with Petra and met Casper, who helped me accept myself as a trans guy, as she shared his experience with me. I also got to assistant teach a group of 12 to 16-year-olds about Minnesota nature and camping. That month was one of the best in my life, because it was one of the first times I felt comfortable in who I really was. I loved myself. I had been suffering with untreated depression and anxiety for about 3 years, and Waldsee was the only place where I felt like I could cope, because it was the only place where people I was with gave me the space to cope with the things I was struggling with. When I got back from my apprenticeship, I was formally diagnosed with depression and anxiety. After experiencing a place as open and warm as Waldsee, the transition back into my life in St. Paul was not easy at all. I was no longer in a place where I was loved and accepted the same way. My life kind of spiraled during my junior year. I was living in the closet, and only 3 people knew about how much I was struggling. I was so afraid of who I am, what I was struggling with, and how much I had been hiding from everyone I knew. Most of my friends, my family, my teachers, everyone. I was collapsing in on myself, and in the process, my grades took a downward turn as well. I got more and more anxiety about tests, even though I had tried 3 different medications starting in January. But nothing seemed to be working. And then last April, I came out as transgender to my family and the school. A huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders for sure, but my general struggles with who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, and being myself hadn't really left me. I was still lost and directionless. I had recently been hired by Valdze to be a junior counselor, which meant I would work half-time in the kitchen and half-time as a counselor starting in July. I got to get away from school in St. Paul and just live as myself or create a whole new persona for myself. I was going to be responsible for myself and have control of my life for once in a place where that was encouraged, not frowned upon. When I was at Valdze this summer, I was like a different person. I was happy and in control and capable. Of course, I still felt down and anxious and all that, but something was different. I felt like I could handle it. Valdze gave me the space to grow into myself, space for me to grow into the boy you know and love, Leo. Funny enough, I was given the space to accept Leo, and where everyone only knew Marin. Maybe it was because no one there, not one person, knew Isabel. None of them had ever met her, and so I made friends who I still keep in close contact with. I worked with kids that I loved, and I spent 7 weeks in a place where I learned to love myself. Valdze isn't only like that for me. I watched kids and coworkers blossom in ways they didn't know they could once they stepped through the arch of the Bahnhof that marks the entrance of the village. I don't know how one place can provide so much joy and love to so many people, but Valdze does. And it did for me too. I have spent a total of 20 weeks at the German language village, and every single one of them has shaped who I am today. And you know what? I want to go back. There are people here who love me but does not feel the same as the love I feel at Valdze. Here, in every interaction I have, the other person seems to be walking on eggshells with every word. Here, there's a disconnect from the people around me, from peers to family to teachers. I'm still afraid to use the men's bathroom because of how many weird looks I get. Here at SPA, people often are so worried about seeming perfect or woke or something that they won't ask questions when they don't understand. And on the other side, if someone doesn't understand a social issue, the person being asked can end up suddenly lashing out and chiding the person for not knowing. Valdze is a place where I can forget about all that. No one gives me weird looks there, no one is reserved or careful. People are okay with making mistakes there. They actually ask me questions and try to understand. They admit to not understanding. And that's better. People there are willing to learn about Leo because they don't assume they know me because they knew Isabel. I think SPA could be more like Valdze if we were all together, a little more curious, a little more patient.